Hi everyone, I'm Stan from Eagle Vision. I'm here with Chris from MyModular. Chris, welcome.
Thank you.
So last time we heard from Mark, the founder of MyModular, about the challenges and the reasons why he founded it. With Chris, we want to talk about actual specifics. So we're going to talk about, in this episode, about construction and what happens in construction of fit-outs. And then later on, we'll talk about when the product is actually completed, or when the project is completed, what MyModular products are used within that. So Chris, during the construction, there are a number of things going on. It's a high-rise building or whether it's commercial or residential, there's a lot of stuff going on at the same time.
Absolutely.
What are some of the basic products that start off within that from MyModular?
Well, typically the first one of ours that would be appropriate on site is our product called ELV. So it's an extra low voltage, safe lighting construction format, where we provide a distribution board, as well as the lighting and cabling, which again is modular, built on our backbone, and it can just be assembled very easily, very quickly, and give you safe emergency lighting on a construction site.
Right, and so in order to install it, what do the people need to do? They get it, and then what happens?
So everything comes provided, so your cables and lights, and it's very simple with 3 outlets on those distribution boards, so you can have 3 runs of lights off of the distribution board, and typically those lights are about 10 metres apart. So you get 3 130 metre runs of lighting, and each light has its own built-in emergency and backup battery. So if someone manages to cut through a cable or something, you're not going to lose lighting on site. They all have a 30-minute battery backup on them. So you can then replace that cable again, unplug, plug it back in, everything snaps together.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it's 48 volts.
Correct.
A whole lot better than dealing with 240.
Yes, and much safer. So on a construction site, things can happen. And if you accidentally run a drill through one of these cables, you're not going to have a fatal shock. You're going to know that you've done something wrong, but it's not going to be lethal. And that's a really big focus for us, is giving safe construction sites.
Brilliant. And so what happens then? The builders have finished let's say the level. They remove that lighting. Is there anything from MyModular that stays behind? So
the backbone of the lighting system, the ELV, is built with the same product as MLEX. So our MLEX range is the power modular system, which can do all of your standard general power outlets, so all of your standard wall plugs. They're the same wiring design, but the actual cables and things from the ELV system will come off. You'll be able to move it up to the next floor of construction, plug it back in, link them all together, and that can go with you. So
have you got any of the actual lighting examples to show us?
Absolutely. So the cabling system is this. So there's a male and female end on every cable, and typically around 10 metres long, running from light to light. And each time you're ready to put a light on, all you need to do is take the Y piece. You just plug that straight in to the system, run a light off of there, which is pre-enabled, and then the next cable this length comes straight out of there. So it's all just snap locks together, really quick, really easy, and then disassembly is just as easy. You just go along with a flathead screwdriver, push it in there, and they pop apart. Got it.
And then the actual lights that are plugging into those, are they just standard LEDs, or do you provide the lights?
Yes, so they are our product. So the MLEX lights, they are a 48 volt driver inside, which is ours. So we have to modify them to become compatible for that 48 volts, which is then what allows it to be run at a safe voltage. So the mains gets power, and there's a distribution board. So that's an MLEX, that's our product again. So all the smarts is in there to bring the voltage down to 48 volts, and then run it through those cables to the lighting. So you get the mains power at 240 into the distribution board.
And the distribution board then gets it out to all the other lights.
So then you've got, again, those 3 outlets, which can be run in any direction. And the really good thing about 48 volts is minimal voltage drop. So over long distances, you don't get voltage drop, so you don't get dimmer lights. And we make sure they're really safe from end to end.
And what about sustainability? It's a really big issue these days. So how does that work with the temporary lighting that you create?
The best thing is zero waste on site. So because everything's prefabricated here, and we use all Australian products as well, so all of our copper and cabling is where we can supplied in Australia. And so there's zero waste on site. There's no cutted bits or any waste present on the building site generated by the products that we manufacture. It's the biggest benefit there.
Yeah, sure. And then the builders, they take that level go to the next level, continue the work. What happens at the end of their build?
So they can choose to, we have a lease option for our product.
Yep.
So if it's a short-term build and they're only going to need temporary lighting for say 3 months, sometimes it's more financially beneficial to lease that product.
Yep.
Or they can purchase it outright as well. So we do offer ongoing support for the product through the term of their lease and also through the term of their ownership as well.
But I imagine with larger organisations, they'll take that build, move it on to the next, and use exactly the same system across the board.
Correct. And in a lot of builds, there might be 10 to 15 distribution boards active with 39-ish lights on each board. So there's a lot of lighting, making it really bright.
Yep.
For underground or any basement builds, very important. And for high rises, especially if there's construction going on after hours or after the sun sets, it's good to have a really bright, safe environment for all the workers on there.
So I'm aware that your other products have smart lighting to them.
Yes.
What about the temporary lighting?
So the best thing about the temporary lighting is each light has its own built-in self-testing system, which will run and make sure that the batteries are operating correctly. So because most of our products are emergency capable, so if you do cut a cable, they still run. And they self-test. So instead of all of the other products available where you'd have to go on and manually hold a button to test it, which will mean that it stops using mains power, runs a test, and that gets an indicator.
Wastes a whole lot of time too.
Correct. So you can set it so that they will do that automatically, and then all you need to do is look at the lights, and if there's a red LED visible on there, means the battery has faulted. Pull it down, pop another one in there. As you've seen, clicking them together is easy. You just unclick that one, click in the next one, sort it.
Ready to go.
Exactly
Beautiful.
right.
Excellent. Look, that's all that we sort of wanted to talk about in the construction phase. Next time around, as I mentioned, we'll talk about what happens with the completed product and what kind of lighting solutions are available then. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you, Stan.